Hi everybody, welcome back. First of all, I want to thank everybody for their amazing support. As you know, last week my NPC Live 2 got stolen. I made a small video about it, and the support I received from you guys, I honestly am absolutely overwhelmed. I have no words, and I want to thank you so much for every word of support, every single person who reached out. I really, really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. So today, I want to talk to you about this thing that just came over from Le France. For full transparency's sake, Embodme did send me this unit, but they're not paying me in any way, nor do they have any say or influence in what I'm about to tell you all about this pretty cool MIDI controller. Okay, so it's been around an hour maybe since I started using this, and honestly, this thing rocks. So what is this? It's basically a MIDI polyphonic, poly-touch, MPE, whatever you can think of, layout MIDI controller for basically everything. So first of all, like the general setup, you have different 16 types of layouts that you can choose from, and these are all presets and you can modify them however you want to. So the AP zone is like animations, and you can have like drawings and GIFs and stuff. You have everything from faders, and these are like knobby thingies, basically anything you can think of. And this is a sequencer actually, so like you can play over here. Pretty crazy actually. It's a lot of functionality in one very compact format. So what I'm going to show you today is the keyboard and the drum functions, which are very, very cool. So first you have these pads, for example. This is one type of layout. And this, you can think of this kind of like the Ableton push, in the layout. And this is a keyboard. Now, what's interesting here is that if you press down, these are some physical buttons that you have on the side, and you have octaves, and you have the selection of which panel you want, and you also have an alternate. So you have the same layout, but you have two of the same. So this is one control, this is another control, and this is another. These are like three MIDI controllers in one. So I could have channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, and 6, all like just wicked access. And I thought, since the Phantom, has loads of instruments, I think I've unlocked a huge potential. You see, I am not the world's greatest keyboard player. I can, manage, but I'm not that great. And one of my biggest fears about maybe jamming live or doing stuff like that is hitting the wrong keys. If you hit the clef key over here, you get different scales. For example, here we're in C sharp, and you have chromatic, major, minor, melodic minor, harmonic minor. There's a bunch of them over here. And I am now on C harmonic minor. And now, for example, in this keyboard, I still have the off keys here if I want to access them. The roots are kind of highlighted. You have two octaves, not really two octaves, like one and a little bit of an octave. This I'm not sure how to use still, because it seems to be only one note, but I'm sure you can like maybe configure it to do like more stuff. If you long press over here, you get the MIDI setup and the MPE setup. So right now on this panel over here, I'm on MIDI channel 5, and on this panel over here, I'm on MIDI channel 6. So I'm using two instruments of the Phantom at once. I have this like cello bass with a delay on it, a reverse delay, and I have an electric piano over here. And that's also cool because like you can slide this. I'm pretty sure you can probably modify the sensitivity and the range of the pitch bends, but that's just so cool. This is the first MP controller I've had, and I'm really digging it. Some you know, weird stuff that I can tell you about this, at least for now. First of all, it's really sensitive. You do have to press hard though. It's sensitive, but you can't just tap it. See, like I'm tapping lightly and barely anything's happened. You have to, you know, kind of dig in there. What I found very interesting is that the drums feel awesome. And one of my main gripes with the Phantom is that the Phantom has a few pads, and at first I thought they were velocity sensitive, but no, they're not velocity sensitive, which is a huge shame because, you know, it's supposed to be an all-inclusive workstation, and it would have been really cool to be able to finger drum stuff like on the SP404. Has 16 pads, so it's kind of the same layout, but they're not velocity sensitive. They're more like triggers, you know, for scenes or group mutes and stuff like that. So having this combined makes me feel like I have a much bigger instrument now, because I could basically play okay, I can't do both at once, of course, but I find it really cool that you can start recording, and that's what I was doing in this little like live intro. You have different scenes on the Phantom which you can start recording, and you have 16 tracks of different instruments. So instead of having to switch, or instead of having to play the drums, for example, over here, I can just start recording stuff over here and then play the piano on the actual keys. So it brings a performance level to it that's really cool. And I haven't even started mapping out all the different, let me see here. This, for example, this is like filters and resonance, and you have faders, and you can, with the companion software, which I haven't even downloaded, you can do a lot to modify this to your liking. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have like an all-powerful Phantom now, because I can use this to quickly go from controls to faders and effects and stuff. And the Phantom already has loads of on-screen controls, but there are others that are hidden in menus, and I'm curious to see if I'll be able to map this out. So for example, I can, you know, I can play around with the filter directly on the panel, but if I want to mess around with the delay time, I could maybe map it out over here. I'm not sure. I will inform you as soon as I know. It's a strange texture. I'm not sure how to really communicate it. It's not exactly soft. It's a bit rugged. It's nice to play, that's for sure. And you know, this little effect that it does when you play and you press down, it kind of like does this halo of light. I don't know, it feels really organic. It doesn't feel as sterile as many MIDI controllers usually do. It feels, you know, very fun to play with, and I think that this playful and visual nature really contributes, because like in 10 minutes I was set up and I was just like, you know, I keep coming back to the drums. It's just so fun. And also, I've seen that in some videos, you can actually use drumsticks, which I've never used before, but I think now is a good time to start. So, first impressions of the Erae Touch. It's really straightforward, really easy to set up. I haven't dug into like the really complex, you know, I think this is like the Ableton Push, but in Erae Touch form. There's a lot more to dig into here, but at least first hour and a half I've been jamming with this and using it. This is definitely one of like the highlights of this year, and I'm really happy that I got this. So to everyone watching, thank you very, very much for always sticking around. Thank you for your support. I love you guys, and I will see you soon.